Hey gang, Stuart here. Welcome to episode 5 in our 8-part series on the select menu in Audacity. This time we're talking about the Spectral submenu, so let's get into it. If we go to the select menu, the Spectral menu has 3 options: toggle spectral selection, next higher peak frequency, and next lower peak frequency. So what can we use these for? Well, in the VO world, we don't use them a whole lot, but there's one place where I have taken advantage of this, so let me show you. I've pre-recorded this little bit of audio. It's an old tongue twister you might be familiar with. The sixth sheep is sick. And I chose that particular one because I sometimes have an issue with sibilance in my narration, and I have to knock down those high S's a little bit in order to prevent them from being painful to the listener. In order to do that, the spectral view can be really useful. So if I go into the track control panel and pull down the little 3-dot menu, I can get spectrogram view. So we change from waveform to spectrogram, and the spectrogram looks like this. If you haven't looked at it before, the spectrogram adds the ability to see which frequencies are the high and low amplitude values, right, by using color. So in this case, the bright colors, these bright bands at the bottom and the brighter values towards the middle, are louder than the darker values. Okay, so we can see that there are frequencies that are lower amplitude and there are frequencies that are much higher amplitude. So for my voice, a lot of these low tones are much louder than other frequencies. But you can also see that there's kind of this faint sort of band across that's pretty bright, right around 4,000, or right around 4K. And I know that that's where my sibilance occurs. So I want to do something about that. So in spectrogram mode, I can go ahead and make a selection, and this is what a spectral selection looks like. Okay, it means that it's selecting a portion of the frequencies, and I can control where I want the center of that to be, and I'm going to put it right around 4K where I see that brightness occurring. And I can make the selection larger or smaller depending on how much of it I want to affect, right? So I want to affect, right around 800 or 900 hertz on either side of 4K. Okay, I want to bring that down so that those S's aren't quite as sharp. All right, so in order to do that, I go into the effects menu and go to Spectral Tools and Spectral Edit Parametric EQ and knock it down. This is just what I'm doing. This doesn't really have anything to do with the select menu per se, but how I'm using this spectral selection. So I'm going to apply that 18 dB lowering in gain. And you can see immediately how that changes. It darkens that band that we had selected in the spectral selection. So if I play this again, the sixth sheep is sick. You'll notice that it's taken those sharp S's off. Okay, so that's a way to soften down those S's. Now there's the options on the select menu. If we have a spectral selection made, then, and we decide that we want to do some normal editing, like we want to just delete a section of audio, but we don't want to leave the spectral view. If we go into select and spectral and toggle the spectral selection, now it's just a normal selection. All right, let me make that a little bit more clear. If I select just this range, and you can see that there's a spectral selection here, and if I go to the select spectral, toggle spectral selection, now it's not a spectral selection anymore, it's just a normal selection, and if I, for example, hit delete, it deletes that bit of audio. Now the other two options in the spectral menu are next higher peak frequency and next lower peak frequency. This causes Audacity to select a peak that is either the next highest or the next lowest, depending on which option you select, from the current spectral selection. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to turn the spectral selection back on, and I'm going to make a selection down here in the lower frequencies where the bands, the peaks, are more obvious, because the movement of the center line of the selection is going to be pretty subtle, and I want it to be as visible as possible. So having made the selection, if I go into the spectral menu, I go next higher peak frequency, you're going to see the center line of the spectral selection jump up to the next peak above at a higher frequency than where the center line currently is. So if I select that, then we'll see the center line jump. And there it is. just a little tiny bit, it shifted upward. And the same way, if I select in the spectral menu next lower peak frequency, we'll see it jump down. And there it is, small movement downward. So Audacity has selected the next peak at a lower frequency from where I've currently selected it. So I haven't had a whole lot of use for those last two in my practice and what I do, but you might, and I'd be curious to hear if you do. I know there's a lot of folks out there that are using Audacity for scientific applications and other interesting things, and I'm always interested to hear what you're using the options for. So shoot me a note, let me know. I'm Stuart, hope this helps.